we're running a little bit late. Our guest speaker today is Zachary Grady. He was born in Biloxi. He was raised in D'Iberville, in District 115 all his life. He married Allison Lopez. She also was raised born in District 115. They have two children, a boy and a girl. He's got an MBA from William Carey College. He might add that he went to college as he was an officer in the police department, and he got his degree, and that's how he did it. He worked hard. He went and got education. He was on the Harrison County Task Force as an agent. So please welcome Mr. Zach Grady. I want y'all to understand that he does come from a great family called the Stein family. There's one of them.
Thank y'all so much. It really is an honor and a privilege to be here. I've heard so much about the Biloxi Businessmen's Group. It's the infamous group over here in Biloxi, and to just come here and be able to speak to y'all and be a part of this is quite an honor. As you know, I am running for state representative for District 115. I wanted to bring some attention to Mr. Vincent Creel. He's recently come on board as the campaign manager. I'm really excited about that. So the main reason I tell y'all about that today, if anything goes wrong, it's Vincent's fault. Okay?
They already do that.
Yeah, but seriously, thank y'all so much. I'm glad to be here today. I just wanted to tell you a little bit about myself. So I was born right here in Biloxi at the old Howard Memorial over there off of Bayview, where our DMR is today. And I was raised on Back Bay. That's where I was at. That muddy water that we all love, that we've all swam in, that we love, that's the bay. That's where I was raised, right there on Bayshore Drive. I was just on the other side, And I love this place. My grandmother and grandfather, that was Bob and Shannon Stein. Many of y'all may know they owned and operated the Biloxi Diablo Press for almost 30 years. And I grew up in a single parent household. My mom worked 2 or 3 jobs when I was younger to support me. And what that gave me an opportunity to do was spend a lot of time with my grandfather. I mean, I was connected at the hip. I can remember going to the local elections, going to the local community centers. I wanted to be in the mix. I was ducking under legs and arms and trying to see what everybody was hooping and hollering about. But it was a great opportunity. I know that many of y'all knew Bob Stein, and he loved the community. And as a young child, he taught me that. He taught me how important it is to appreciate where we come from, to work hard for the community where we live. This is home to me, District 115, my whole life. This is where I've been. And my grandfather told me how important that was. I can remember Biloxi Diablo Press. It was the North Biloxian when it first got started. And we had an office right around the corner from City Hall and the post office. And I thought it was the coolest thing. I got to walk to the post office with my grandpa every day and check the P.O. box. That was something exciting for me to go check and see what mail we got. But I spent a lot of time at the paper office. My grandfather actually came up with that idea for the newspaper because he wanted to be someone that could promote small and locally owned businesses. At the end of the day, that's what he was. He was a blue-collar, common-sense, hard-working guy. And that's what he taught me. And he wanted a way for our community, the Biloxi community, the North Bay community at the time, to have a voice. So they started the North Biloxian at the time. It was actually S&F Publishing, and they started promoting small businesses in that newspaper. And ultimately, it became the Biloxi D'Iberville Press, what y'all know today. So that's kind of how I got started. A lot of people ask me today, they're like, Zach, why do you want to do this? And ultimately, it's just in my blood. I want to serve my community. I want to help. I want to be a part of making a difference, just like this group is, just like y'all do every day. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I want to do this. I grew up, went to Diablo High School, got to be on the state championship football team. That was something exciting I got to be a part of over there. 2002. Yep, I was a junior. Once I got out of high school, I worked offshore a little bit. I realized real quick, all them guys told me out there, they said, you need to go to school, Zach. You got to go get that degree and start doing something else. So I left there. I started working at Northrop Grumman. They owned Ingalls Shipbuilding at the time. And I was out there for about 2.5 years. I worked in the finance department. And wasn't the best job I ever had, but it was something. And I got laid off Economy hit us pretty hard back then. Defense budget got cut, and they closed a lot of their shipyards down. But while I was there, again, I always wanted to do something. I wanted to do something for my home, for my community. So I decided to get a job with being in the police department. So I went and saw Mr. Rusty Quave. I said, Mr. Rusty, I want to work at the Diablo Police Department. He said, well, Zach, you know, Chief Payne's over that. He said, we pretty much let him make the decisions. And he's really looking for trained police officers, people that already have the academy under their belt. Well, that's all I needed to hear. I went home, immediately I looked up police academies, found out that the State Academy in Pearl took self-sponsors. Pulled a little bit of retirement I had out at Ingalls, self-sponsored myself through the police academy. So I come back with my certificate, I said, okay, I'm trained. I'm ready to go to work. So I did put in with Biloxi Police Department as well, but D'Iberville was the one that gave me my first shot. So I started there in 2010 and had an absolute great career under Chief Payne at D'Iberville Police Department. I started out as a patrolman. Within a couple of years, I was given the opportunity to be sergeant. So I had my own shift, primarily worked midnight shift. That's where we wanted to be when we were young. That's where all the action was. So it was fun. Short time after that, I got to join the Coastal Narcotics Enforcement Team known as CNET. And what's really special about that team is we have a lot of small agencies here on the Gulf Coast with D'Iberville and Pass Christian and Long Beach. So all of our agencies, including Biloxi and Gulfport, they're a little bit bigger. You know, they're larger agencies down here. They take one individual from all their departments and they join them together to operate in this enforcement team. And we're commissioned through the Mississippi Bureau of Narcotics, and they also add an agent to the team as well. So whenever they commission us, we have jurisdiction at that point through the whole state. But they housed us with Harrison County Narcotics. So we got to operate in the entire county. And that was exciting because I got to be over here in Biloxi, and I got to help get drugs off the streets over here in this community. You know, a lot of people, District 115 is so special. It really is. It's a special district. It encompasses most of the tourism we have in Mississippi, most of our tax revenue. Like they said, we're number 5 in gaming. I'm sure we're going to get that back up to number 3 or even higher soon, because Biloxi and District 115, we're doing great. And this position is a huge responsibility. And I take things, as I did the police department, as I did serving my community, as an honor, as a huge responsibility. I carry that. You know, at 26 years old, I got sergeant stripes pinned on my collar, and being with a small department, I was the highest ranking officer on shift. So at nighttime, when it come time to make a decision, I made the decision that needed to be made. 10 years at the Diablo Police Department helped me become the man that I am today. You know, so it's exciting. While I was at the PD, I decided to pursue degrees. As you know, police officers don't make near enough money these days. People ask me all the time, why did you leave? One of the biggest reasons I left is because I got a family. I'm married, I got 2 small children, we're in sports. I got a 10-year-old little girl and I got a 5-year-old little boy. So I knew that I wanted more. So I went back to school, finished up my undergrad in criminal justice, ultimately got my MBA from William Carey. And after leaving the police department, I had a lot of opportunities. I worked with Harrison County Development Commission. I got to work on economic development with them. I was at all their board meetings. I got to help out with their water and sewer systems in the parks that they had. And I got to learn a little bit about civil engineering and ultimately community development. So I feel like I have a broad perspective. Obviously, there's always a lot to learn, but I feel like I've got to be involved. I've got to be a part of a lot. I'm an account manager with Coca-Cola now, which has been a great experience, bringing more of the finance and business side of things to light and learning a lot there. And you know, the reason I want to run for this again, and I know I've said it more than once, but it may sound cliche at times for somebody that's up here asking for votes and asking for support, but at the end of the day, I love my community. I love where I'm from. This is home. This is where I decided to raise my family, purchase my homes, and be here. So if there's anything I'm going to fight for, it's going to be home. It's going to be my family. People used to ask me all the time, they'd say, Zach, why are you a police officer? You know, I mean, we can imagine in the last decade how the tides have turned, public perception, you know, and I would tell them that I would hope, my kids' name are Anna and Charlie. Charlie's actually named after my grandfather. I said, I would hope that there would be somewhere, a man, a woman, somebody in law enforcement that was brave enough to go help them if they needed it. Because that's the only way that I could relate it to it in my head, that there's somebody else's CNN Charlie out there. And I take that same approach and that same responsibility as District 115 State Representative. We need a voice. We need a strong voice. Not to go up to Jackson and come back here and say what Jackson wants to do. Go from District 115 and tell Jackson what we want and what we need down here. You know, one of the hottest issues on the press right now is titles. You know, let's talk about titles. I've got a big problem with the fact that Jackson can hinder development in District 115. That absolutely makes no sense to me. And as your representative, I'm going to go to Jackson and I'm going to make sure that we have a voice from here that says this is what we need in District 115 and this is what we're going to fight for. This is what we're going to bring back. Mr. Mike Levitard, I heard about the letter that you drafted and sent to the Secretary of State's office. It's really awesome to see a group like this. Y'all have a platform and y'all have a voice that is heard in Jackson. Okay, that letter, Mr. Mike might have been the one that wrote that letter, but it came from the influences and the voices in this room, and I applaud you.
You came right.
I didn't like the letter that the group did, but what I did is I responded to an email to him when he was asking for folks to come support him in one of the events, and that's, I told him, no way in hell.
Well, look, I appreciate your efforts. Okay, awesome. Well, again, I know it was a conglomerate effort of this group. I knew that. You know, I work full time. I am a blue collar, common sense guy. That's me. I work for a living. I've got 2 children. We got ball every night of the week and twice on weekends. Let me tell you. And in the meantime, I'm also fighting for this community every day at whatever level or whatever platform I can. And I am aware of what this group did. I am aware of the voice that y'all have and the platform that y'all have. And the attention that y'all brought to this matter with our entitlements. It is very important that our development here for industry and business is not hindered. And I don't know why Jackson thinks they can come down here and prevent that. That bothers me. And as your state representative, you're not gonna have to wait for an email. You're not gonna have to wait for a contact, because I'm gonna have an open line communication with everyone in this room. Any issue, any problem, anything that you need, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you, I promise you I'm gonna go get it done, but I'm gonna go raise hell about it. We're gonna go up to Jackson, we're gonna go up to the Capitol, and we're gonna fight. And we're gonna bring back what District 115 needs. And I appreciate what y'all have done. If I didn't meet you, if I didn't shake your hand at the beginning of the day, I want to. I want to know what the wants and needs are of the people. You know, a lot of people talk about, Zach, why do you want to be a politician? I'm not a politician. I'm not trying to be a politician. I'm trying to fight for my community. But what a politician is supposed to do, a political official, someone that was elected by the people, is supposed to be a voice of the people. And that's what I want to hear. I want to hear what the issues are. I want to hear what the problems are. I want to hear what we're trying to develop, what we're trying to grow. We need a strong economy like we already have here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast in District 115. We want to continue to grow, we want to continue to improve, and we want to continue to get bigger and stronger. We don't want to go backwards. We need a voice, and I'm telling you here today that I promise you, I will be the strongest voice that I can possibly be in Jackson. So thank y'all all so much for the opportunity. I feel like I got to tell y'all a little bit about myself. I hope that I have the opportunity to meet and talk more with y'all. Is there any questions?
Do you have any opposition?
There is 2 other candidates in the race. Yes, sir.
We just, first time we probably met in the past, but today we really met.
Yeah, he pulled you over.
Pulling them over.
I didn't remember that. It came to my attention today that he has been doing fundraisers for the police department also. And the 2 officers that got killed in Bay St. Louis, he's raised a lot of money for their families, and he continues to do that. And I really salute you for being a big heart for doing that. And I'd like for you to tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate that, Mr. Bart. Ultimately, in 2016, I'm sure that all of you can remember, we had a horrible tragedy in Baton Rouge. There were 6 police officers. They were ambushed and they were shot, and several of them died. You know, And again, it's hard to sit back on the sidelines when things like that happen in our community. It just is. Whether it's Baton Rouge or whatever, whenever that hit close home to me, because Baton Rouge, I mean, who goes to LSU football games? I'm assuming many people in this room. That's just a hop, jump, and a skip away. I mean, we're right there. You know, a lot of people I hear all the time, man, that won't ever happen here. Well, let me tell you something. In Baton Rouge, I bet you there was plenty of people that said that before. That won't ever happen here. And on the same day, 6 police officers were shot. So I went and sat down with Chief Payne. I said, Chief Payne, I want to do something. I don't know what, but I want to do something. I want them to know that the law enforcement community around the United States loves them and supports them. So my idea, you know, kind of being small-minded, Back Bay, right? We're going to have a shrimp spaghetti ball drawdown at the community center. Hope to raise about $10,000 and send hey, we're thinking about you. Here's a little help. We want to know that you're on our hearts and on our minds. Well, this thing started catching like wildfire back in 2016. The next thing you know, I got in contact, well, actually Bobby Carter got in contact with me. He was down at the Golden Nugget at the time. Golden Nugget wanted to bring us on and sponsor us. Ended up being a huge event in the Golden Nugget Ballroom. We raised over $78,000 in 3 months. We cut a $10,000 check to each family. And there was one officer that was bound to a wheelchair. He had been shot in the head. He survived. And with the little bit that we had left after paying all the expenses, we gave him what was left out of the bank. And look, I didn't do that nowhere near by myself. Let me tell you something. A great group of people came together. And when people come together, great things happen. And we put a great group of people together, and we got that event off. So we always wanted another one to happen. We did. And things get busy, and people get busy. After that is when I went and decided to get my degrees and finish up my MBA. I think I've got a United in Blue baby at the house. I'm pretty sure Charlie, he's about that age. You know, so that was the name of our event, United in Blue. But anyway, we've got together recently because it's actually unfortunate. It's very bittersweet because the reason we have these events is because tragedies has happened in our communities. But we want to honor those families and those officers. So recently we had the 2 officers gunned down in Bay St. Louis. We actually also we had Officer McKeithen here in Biloxi, and we had Deputy Butte in Bay St. Louis. And we haven't been able to have an event since the last one to honor these police officers. So we're in the process now of establishing our organization, and we plan and hope to have an event in September, again at the Golden Nugget. And what I want to do is I want to memorialize all 4 of these men that laid down their life so that we can have better quality of life here in South Mississippi. And that's the plan, September. Don't have an exact date yet, but when we have more information, we'll definitely let you know. And again, it's just a great group of people from the community that want to work hard and make a difference. So thank you for bringing that up.
We salute you, man. We're here to help you.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
The Secretary of State prominently referred to as the SOS. We changed that here. We call them SOB. Second part of the question is, who currently has the 155 seat?
So it's District 115. Randall Patterson is the incumbent for this seat. Randall is not seeking re-election. He's retiring. So I've had the opportunity, you know, I've went to Jackson. I've met with our local representatives. I've met with Speaker Gunn. You know, I've talked about issues that we here have on the coast, things that I want to fight for, that I want to help District 115 continue to grow and improve. So I have got to speak with Representative Patterson, great guy, wealth of knowledge there. And I've met with all of them. I've been up there, I've been to the Capitol. And I can't wait to go back, and I'm hoping to go back as the state representative for District 115 so I can fight for my home.
When you met with Patterson, what were open issues he's having a problem with, unresolved issues, something that maybe you can keep going forward?
You know, they're in session right now up in the legislature. So we have we've actually spoke on the phone as well, but we plan to sit down and meet soon, and those are some of the things I want to speak to him about.
Yeah.
Absolutely. What is he working on? What else is, what can we continue to move forward? So that's definitely something that we're going to do. I'm going to sit down and talk with him Our conversations at this point haven't been that so much in depth about those issues, but I know there's a lot to do. There's definitely not a lack of work, and one thing I don't mind doing is working hard.
Well, you do know that District 115, as heard by Peter Evans, is the largest tax revenue district in the state of Mississippi.
Yes, sir.
So it's a big representative spot, so.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Very good.
Thank you.
I'll get you to kick it out before you start. All right, class four, 2561. 2561.